Welcome all, new and old. We are back for day 7 of 31 Days for 31 Frights. Today I'm talking about The Evil Dead's Army of Darkness. This is the third installment of the series, but if I'm being honest, every review and every trailer that has graced my greasy eyes and dirty ears have all stated that this is the worst Evil Dead installment. But it would have been 1,000 times better and an instant classic if they just let it stand on its own two legs and called it Army of Darkness. But you guys are tired of hearing about my little summaries and descriptions. You want to hear for the nice, juicy, succulent piece of information called the movie plot and summary. As the movie begins, we get to see a recap of the first two movies. It's almost as if they knew you weren't going to remember the first two plots. But we see our hero get sucked into a portal, and it sends him into the Middle Ages, where it's beginning to see that it's two kingdoms fighting against each other for an unknown reason. Our hero, Ash, is able to come to after he's been knocked out through this, and we learn that he's been enslaved because the other kingdom that they're fighting against assumes him to be an enemy. So let's just fast forward just a little bit more, and we also get to see how much of a Chad Ash is, because he gets to go toe to toe with two creatures in a pit, and he ends up coming out alive. And mind you, for the first one, he's going in no weapons because, they think he's a bad guy. So they just, throw him down. He takes some hits. It's crazy. They have this one lady who's throwing hands with him. She's like going 13 rounds Mike Tyson hits with him. I don't know how he was able to stay standing. But then this old Merlin looking dude throws his weapon. His weapon of choice was a chainsaw because he's missing a hand. So he like kind of MacGyvered it into his own hand, which is kind of sick. But they throw it onto him, and he kills them, and he's able to get out. And as he leaves the pit, he's able to save this one king from execution. Now, I want you to remember this guy because he actually comes in, like he comes in clutch later on in the movie. He makes this little favor for Ash, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later into the video when we get to that point. But anyway, Ash instantly makes amends with the people that threw him into the pit and crafts a sick new gauntlet hand, which is like straight up the sickest thing ever. I don't even know how he knew how to do that. Like, I'm pretty sure he's just some regular guy who works at like the Walmart equivalent of like any retail store. But anyway, I thought this movie was pretty cool, and I thought how it was pretty funny how he gets straight up like into this lady who threw a rock at his head, mind you, within the first like 25 minutes. And it's just the funniest thing ever. It's like almost immediately he's like, "Oh yeah, I love you now." And we just have to sit there and suck it up. But I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. This movie is beyond goofy, and it's even funnier than it is actually horrifying. And if that doesn't even make sense, I don't know how to put it. Like, it's so stupid and dumb that it's like funny, but they still want to play it off as a horror movie. But it's like kind of like something you'd make your mom sit down and watch when you're like at home, if you know what I'm talking about. But I love how the movie uses stop motion. They actually do this gracefully when they animate some skeletons in the scenes. But later on in the film, Ash is tasked to collect the Necronomicon, but he ends up stopping in a mill because he's chased off the main path by an unseen force. Ash is then attacked by many versions of him because he decides to shatter a mirror on the wall. When they knock him down, one of them forces him to swallow them, bringing in some disgustingly good body horror. And when I say this, I'm talking about like an eyeball grows on his shoulder and he like breaks out of this windmill and you see it in like the little like shadows of the moon. And it's just like two people splitting apart in the most gruesome, grotesque way. I think it was pretty cool how they were able to do that. But this ends up prompting Ash to fight his evil version, and he actually wins and he cuts him up into bits and buries him alive. Ash grabs the Necronomicon, but after listening to what the Merlin guy said, I don't even know who the wizard guy's name is. I'm just going to call him Merlin. He tells him to say a certain incantation, but Ash doesn't say it correctly because he doesn't know the last word. And, that's not pretty good because then it raises the dead. All of the dead people in the cemetery that the Necronomicon was in come back to life and attack Ash. This even includes the evil version of himself that he recently just killed. With this new beautiful thing coming to light, he then prepared the remaining people of the castle to fight against the dead. In the first siege, the woman that he fell in love with was captured by the dead and turned into a deadite. And if I didn't give any context on what that is, a deadite's a parasitic demon spirit thing that feeds on the souls of the living. But during this ensuing battle, the woman he fell in love with appeared on the battlefield only to honeypot him and attack him. It almost looks like she gets the better of him until he actually decides to throw hands with this woman and throw her over the edge. As he fights her, it kind of looks like the people are going to lose. Like, they had 60 people to begin with, and then they're just like getting knocked down left and right when they have like 200 dead people coming over. Like, you're not killing me, buckaroo. I've got the upper hand here. But remember how I told you about the other king that he's saved from being executed painfully? He comes in clutch. He brings his men, and they all come in and reinforce the other people that they were going to fight. And they were like, "What's up, cuh?" And they pull up and they help. They save him, and they actually distract the dead people long enough for Ash to go and see his evil version trying to steal the book. But Ash is such a Chad, he was able to begin a duel with them. It was like two swords, or at least they had a sword in each hand. They're just whacking at it like crazy people. That's pretty cool. I liked how they did that because it was the same guy. The guy who plays Ash Williams is Bruce Campbell. He does all the cool stuff in there. It's the same dude. So he's like doing green screen or whatever, and he's just like fighting himself, and it's just so funny because he's just flailing. But I'm off topic again. My bad. Ash is able to defeat his evil self by blowing him up, then he launches him into the air using a catapult, prompting the explosive to go off. This seems to save the land from the Deadites' wrath, which makes the people of the two kingdoms straight up kiss and make up, now making these two group of people live under one nation, under God. Ash, thinking twice about leaving the land with his lover still residing there, along with a crown he could have called his own, ultimately decides to go back to his own time to work in the store equivalent to Walmart, his old favorite store, S-Mart. We think everything's going to be fine until he is then attacked by an old woman trying to eat his soul in this store. When he's trying to rizz up this one woman, she's saying, "Oh yeah, I think it's pretty cute how you tell all the other people here that you were going to be a king one day." And this old woman just goes, "I'm going to eat your soul." And she attacks him and she's like, okay, there's one thing here that made me so frustrated was when he grabs like this repeater off like there's like a shelf. He smashes it open, he grabs the rifle, and it's a lever action. So like they don't have that many, or at least they have quite a few rounds, but clearly they do not care because they let this man shoot it 30 times without reloading a single time, and I thought that was hilarious. But anyway, that's the end of the movie. And if I'm gonna be honest, I had so much fun with this. It was funny, it had great set design, a fairly decent plot. I even love the stop motion animation that they used for some of the scenes of the movie. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I'm gonna say, watch the movie for yourself. I cannot stress saying this enough. My garbage summary isn't meant to replace the experience of watching the movie yourself. If you think that what I'm saying is not going to deter you, good. That's fine. It's an opinion. It's not supposed to affect how you feel. It's what I garnered from this information. But, just watch the movie. It's fun. It's like an hour and 20, maybe hour 30 minutes. It's a good movie. I saw it on Amazon Prime because, I have somebody I can leech that from. W. But it's a good movie. Just don't let my opinion deter you. Watch the movie. It's something worth experiencing yourself. It came out like 1980 or 1993, I mean. So it's not that old. It's like 30-ish years, I think. But it's a good. But I guess it's time to say goodbye. And as always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Bye.